We're off.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And again, I'm with the wonderful Sally Estlin. How are you, Sal?
Hey, Harry. I'm absolutely on cloud nine because I'm up in Broadbeach in Queensland and it's warm at night time. It's fantastic. It's beautiful.
And the water's warm.
Oh, it's divine. It's about 23 degrees. It's like beautiful. It's very soothing.
And all the people are beautiful, yeah?
Oh, that's a bit marginal when you walk up to the surface, but yeah, no, it's awesome. But you know why I'm also up here? It's linking in with our topic today. It's about our ability to cope and giving myself some breaks, putting in some boundaries and taking some time out to recharge the soul, recharge the batteries. So still working, but recharge.
And if you were there for another week, well, we could meet up on the beach because I'll be passing there.
Really?
Yeah.
Budgie smugglers on. I could just see it now, Harry. It'd be fantastic. You know, what was that?
Do you know what the family did with my budgie smugglers? Do you know what they did to them? They put them on the campfire and they burnt them.
Were they dearly loved and sort of had seen their day and the elastic had gone?
They apparently.
I've got a visual. Oh.
But what I object to is that the replacements, you know, which are now fashionable, the shorts, take about 3 times as long to dry.
No, you can get the dry fit ones.
Well, they say that, but they're never as quick as the budgie.
Oh, Harry, I love you. Oh, man.
So you're damp in the nether regions forevermore, but fashionable.
Well, you're supposed to have your budgies on under the boardies as well. That's another look. So,
oh my God, never happened. Never happened.
Out of touch. So what have you entitled today's program, darling?
Thrive or survive, because you know when we talk about coping, what that speaks to is the wellness continuum. And on the one end, we've got coping, we've got surviving.
Yep.
And on the other end, we've got thriving. And, you know, we're all somewhere on that continuum. But, you know, what I say to you is stop coping, start living. Coping is for dummies.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that's a bit extreme. It's hard hitting, but it's true. And I've entitled today, Ready to Snap, with a question mark. Are you ready to snap? Because as I was just mentioning before, Maggie and I run a program called Surviving to Thriving, and it's literally taking people in a situation where you just can't cope anymore, where you're just ready to snap and letting go of the shit, stopping and just going, what am I doing? Who am I doing it for? Why am I doing this? And let's get into a place where we've got that balance. We're able to just like, you know, have some strategies in place, like go on and have a break, have a bit of a holiday or something. Super duper duper important because, you know, well, how many of us are living in survival mode? Like I used to do it, and I'm sure you used to do it too, just literally only hanging in there, putting yourself last out of your to-do list, so busy doing things for everybody else, trying to please other people. You're only just coping, and it's on every level. So this links in once again to the topics over the last few weeks, but I've got a few stats from the Australian Psychological Society Stress and Wellbeing Australia for a survey they did in 2015. So this is relating to Aussies, but that's okay. 35% of Aussies have a significant amount of distress in their lives. So that's over 1 in 3 of distress, like serious distress. And 26% have above normal levels of anxiety. So that's 1 in, what's that? 1 in 4?
1 in 4, yeah. 1 in 4.
Abnormal levels of anxiety, and the same amount have moderate to extreme levels of depression. So once again, it's the anxiety and depression linking into just your everyday life, and you just can't cope. It just gets more and more and more. And you know what the top case of stress is? And stress is sort of linking into your inability to cope anymore. It's financial issues. That was at the top these days. Finances is at top 5 causes of stress. 49% of people that are so out of that 1 in 5 that are just have abnormals of stress or anxiety or depression, the top 5 cause of this is the financial issue. So about 1 in 2, so 49%. Family issues was second with 45%. So stuff going on with your family, like I have my kids, or, you know, dealing with teenagers, whatever it is. Personal health was up there too. That was at 44%. So basically 1 in 2 were worried about their health, you know, because it's going down, am I going to have a heart attack? What am I doing to myself? And then trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle was right up there as well, 40%, which I wouldn't have thought was as high as it was. And the other sort of high-ranking one was issues with health of others close to us. So perhaps you're worried about your partner doing too much, just they're not coping, they're getting depressed, what's happening to their health, you know, depression or even worse, or physical things, that cardiovascular disease, whatever, heart attack, stroke. Eczema's a good indicator, isn't it, of people that aren't coping and it's coming out in the skin as stress.
I had a friend at school who had eczema and asthma, and he was
asthma. Yep.
He was the typical weed, you know, and we all thought, you know, he was the school weed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I met him many years later, and there was this complete transformation.
Wow.
He was muscly. He had awesome physique. We just couldn't believe it was the same person.
Yep.
And I said, "What happened to you?" And he said, "I got sick of me." So what I decided to do is I got a brick. No, he started off with half a brick.
Yeah.
And he ran around the block every morning with half a brick. Then he put half a brick in each hand. And then he ended up with a brick in each hand, a house brick.
Whoa,
He just ran it off, ran it away.
Got sick of himself. I love that.
Sick of himself.
That ties in really well with, you know, where you're at when you're living in that survival mode. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. You know, and many of us, and I know I've been down this line big time, you find Band-Aids to cope. And so, you know, it was interesting that more and more are turning to gambling when I was looking through the research. It's something I've forgotten because it's not been something that I've got into. You know, with high levels of anxiety, depression, whatever, gambling, 41% of people are more likely to gamble, which was above smoking. Smoking was at 40%. Oh, no, alcohol was way up there, 61%. And drugs was 31%. I get the drugs and alcohol and the smoking, but gambling I'd forgotten about as a coping mechanism, particularly when it links into finances as being one of the biggest stresses that people are dealing with these days. It's bloody expensive to live. It is so expensive to live. I don't know how young people start out these days, you know, saving up for a deposit, cost of living.
That's true.
You know, your utilities.
If we get back to the famous words of Madonna,
yes.
We live in a material world.
It's true. It's true.
And that's one of the things. That's one of the, you know, tapping into the biggest stressor you've mentioned. Look, when I got married, I know harping on, boring. We never had any new furniture for 10 years.
Yep.
We had a second-hand car.
Yep.
We were poor as church mice.
Yep.
But we didn't have financial stress.
Yep.
Because we chose not to. Now, all my kids and all the friends of my kids, they want new cars, they want en-suites, they want the latest big screen TVs, blah, 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 on it goes.
But even your phones, right? The phones are so expensive, you know, $1,500, $2,000 now. That's a lot.
See school kids walking down the street with these. Yeah.
Oh, who's that hot chick on the front?
It's my daughter. She put it on.
But it's true. And that's part of coping with life, is trying to keep up with the society around you, your environment, your friends, the expectations. It's not just about stuff. It's like, it is about stuff. It's about your clothes as well, the material stuff of how you're looking and having your face done. And it's that external stuff that causes so much stress, the external stuff of, you know, keeping up or being accepted by people, as teenagers, you know, wearing the coolest clothes or doing the right, you know, having the latest technology stuff. As mums, you know, trying to fit in with the other mums at school, or, you know, be accepted, or it's not trying to outdo, but keep up with other people when it comes to jewelry and shoes and all the stuff that doesn't matter. I've learned to let it go, but I've let go of a lot of friends as well because of it, because it's not my scene. I don't fit in.
And the pressure of social media is extreme.
Huge, 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 huge.
You look at the stats on the number of times teens check their phones.
Oh, I know.
Astonishing.
Well, I get it now too. I didn't realise, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
something on
Tells you,
here
yeah.
that tells you how
Up
much screen time.
34% this week.
Yes, since
What have we
yesterday.
done?
It's true. So,
So
yeah,
I've got some stats. I've
yep,
got some good stats. They're from England,
yep.
the old country. This was a Mental Health Foundation survey in March 2017.
Yeah.
65% report mental health problems. 65%.
Yep.
That they've had a mental health problem at some
Yep.
point. 7 out of 10 women, 7 out of 10 young adults, 7 out of 10 those living alone.
Right.
Interesting.
Yep.
Those over 55 have the best reported mental health status, and even more importantly, they report finding it easier to take positive steps. And probably it's because kids have left home.
Right. Okay. And also the financial pressure would be off quite a bit if
Yeah.
say they went for schooling or education,
Yeah.
and they're probably still living at home these days. Can't afford to move out, but hopefully they've got a bit of a job and paying some rent, helping
Hopefully.
out.
Live in hope.
That makes sense.
4 out of 10 have been depressed.
Yep.
3 out of 4 low-income households experience mental health issues, and 85% of those out of work experience mental health issues. So the other thing is globally that mental health issues touch every demographic.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. And levels of mental health problems are increasing.
Yep.
And I think you've touched on some of them, some of the reasons: increased stress,
yep.
Increased materialism. I think increased social isolation is another big one.
Isolation
Although people
is
are connected,
huge. Yes.
although people are connected on these things, they're increasingly isolated.
Yep.
And I go to a business networking group in the morning on Thursdays, and there's a guy there who helps young men particularly. And he said this morning, it's very common for a man to say they don't have anybody they could chat to about a problem.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have anyone.
Yes, somewhere, I can't find it here now, but the stats said that being isolated is a huge cause, or it can contributing factor to not coping, because sharing with other people as well, and as you said, just that communication, or just having that energy of people around, even if you're having a bad day, it picks you up. And
that's the biggest single factor, avoidable factor for longevity and well-being is social connectedness.
Yep.
At any social demographic. So connect.
Yep.
Yeah, have someone to whinge to.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure if I told you, I saw this doco or something on telly, and I don't watch it often, but it had come up last year, and it had the happiest people in the world and what they were attributing happiness to. And they were European. They were very elderly. They were completely unfit. They would just sit in the laneway and just chat to people as they walked past. Their day was just sitting out on a stool, just chatting, being social. How are you? I know from the dog park we had a lady, and we'd all just go down and say hi, Jean, and go and pet the dogs, and it fueled her soul. And she lived to 90, well in her 90s, and she was happy. That was her routine. Very simple needs, but just having that sense of community, and knowing that people gave a shit about you. Really, it's just like hi. Oh, there's Harry. There's Harry on the beach in his budgie smugglers.
So I was thinking, Sally, maybe you should get like a deck chair and put it out on your street. You can start the movement. Don't get run over in the process.
Look, most cities have sort of an odd person, if you know. Like there's always someone. Speaker's Corner in London, there's always the odd ones there, but people always know them, and that's their thing. To go and see them, and they're always there. They're regular and they're just consistent. But
those spaces you're talking about in Europe don't exist in our cities very much.
Oh, not like. Oh, yes, as in the land. No, absolutely. We don't have.
They don't exist. So where would you go? I mean, maybe you'd find them in Carlton, Lygon Street.
Oh, yes.
Old-fashioned strips.
The ones outside of the those neighbouring centres, community centres.
Yeah.
There's a little
but
park
there's not
where
many.
birds. there's not many, you know, where you feed the pigeons, those sort of things. But
you know, Westfield's got a lot to answer for.
yeah, it's true. You know, these big monopolising big structures, taking away, you know, sitting outside of the milk bar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that is further isolates us, and maybe that's why Europe's sort of happier than we are. I think, isn't Finland the happiest country in the world?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah. They have a big social security net, don't they?
Yes.
Scandinavia.
Yeah.
But they have their long winters, which is depressive.
Oh no, I couldn't do it. Melbourne's just started to turn cold. I'm already up north.
Melbourne's bad enough, yeah. The grey Melbourne.
I know. Is it? Oh, toxic smoke. So I did a little model, and you've got a terrific model. I'll just run through my little model. It was based on F words. It's the F model today. So it's about coping with life, the overloads, and it's about focusing on what's really important and making a list and prioritizing it. Like, really, I've got my family, I've got my friends, I've got my health, I've got relationships, I've got my finances. So they're what I'll focus on to help me cope through every day. And then I'll forget the things that aren't on top of the list, and forget the things that waste my time and drain my energy. Like, seriously, part of coping is that you're exhausted, you're worn out, you've just got no energy left. You're just at the end of it. So I'm going to forget the things that aren't important and waste my time and drain my energy, because overall I'm going to be fitter on the mind, body and soul by doing those. And then if I then the other F words, so we've got focus, forget, and then it's friends, and that's coming back to that being part of a community, you know, sharing with your friends. And if you're not coping, let them know, but also share the load. Like, people actually want to help. Research shows that, you know, close friends actually want to help because it satisfies their soul as well as helps you. So call on your friends, because it's keeping you connected, not isolated, and sharing your load. And so overall, if you focus and forget, you get fitter on the mind, body and soul. If you forget the things that waste your time and drain your energy, and then focus more on your friends, you're going to have more time for fun and joy in your life, and do things that satisfy your soul. And then ultimately, if you focus on the things that really are important, hang around your friends more and utilize them to help you cope, then you're going to feel more free. You're going to have a greater sense of freedom. You're going to have less need for all those band-aids of gambling, alcohol, smoking, whatever else that gets you through. And so overall, at the end of all that, you have more joy in the center, because you're just happier, freer. You've got more joy in your life. Absolutely.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that. As always, I like to break these decision points into micro moments.
I love it. I love it. Keep going. Yes.
So one of the things that when you were talking about your personal journey is you actually created a little space so that you could
good one, space.
to rediscover yourself.
Yep.
And if you can do that in the morning, you've got time in the morning. Everybody's got time in the morning. You know, even if you have to get up 5 minutes earlier, make that space. Check into yourself.
Yep.
Rediscover yourself. And then you can check your habits in that moment. Well, what are these habits that I'm stuck in the rut of for my day, my week, my year, my decade? And then you can choose those that serve you, and you can chuck those that don't. So choose or chuck.
Love it. Choose or chuck. I love that.
If you make the space for yourself, and that's really hard, because if you're looking to please everybody else around you and meet all their needs, the idea of making a space for yourself might be a bit foreign, but it's an awesome first step. And it's
absolutely necessary. Absolutely.
And when I say stop coping, start living, coping is for dummies, what I mean is long term. In the short term, yes, you may be stuck in an environment where you've got kids and you've got to look after them and you've got a mortgage. But in the long term, you have choices, and you can reduce those stresses. You can adapt your wants to your capacity, and you can look for the joy. You can rediscover the joy. Definitely. So there's a couple of books I've got here. One is by a woman called Gina Gardner, and it's entitled Surviving, Not Thriving. And the second one is by a guy called Andrew Fuller, which is entitled From Surviving to Thriving. So those look to be pretty good books. I haven't read either of them, but they look, looking at this.
Of course, there's Maggie My Program, which is called Surviving to Thriving, online program. Tap into that one.
And there will be a book coming out of this one day.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I meant to tell you, one of the things I found was the 5 most popular ways people deal with managing stress. Guess what number 1 is?
Sex?
No, I know.
No.
That would be at the top of my list. Absolutely. Watching TV or movies. Like
TV, yeah. Escapism.
Yeah, 85%. Yeah. Then this one really, really brought me a lot of joy. Focusing on the positives. 81% of people now are dealing with shit by focusing on the positives.
Yeah.
Yay! Was so pleased to read that. Then, just what we've been talking about, 81%, same amount, spending time with friends and family. Super cool. That's how you cope. Let's go for a walk. Grab a mate. It's awesome. Download, it's awesome. Now, this one was right up your alley. 80% Harry coming in next, listening to music.
Yeah.
That's something you're always spreading on about. And it's absolutely true. And this is something that you get a gold star for. The 5th one on the list, reading. 75% cope with their stress by reading. Go read a book. I suggest read a book in the bath, possibly with a glass of red wine, whatever, and have some music in the background if you like that. But just reading, because it is escapism, but it depends what you're reading. And you get so enthralled, you don't want to put it down. It's awesome.
The only problem I've got with that is I have showers, so the book gets wet. I need an umbrella in the shower.
Oh, you know what? Have you got a bath? I highly suggest.
I don't actually like having a bath.
Come on, it's taking some time out. Put some Epsom salts, a couple of drops of lavender oil in. You can even take in your iPad, put it on a towel, and read a book through that. Yeah.
When we fill up our bath, the water pressure in the suburb drops. It's enormous.
That's a mini pool, hey? That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So my 3 tips to take out from this of how to cope and not be with so much overload and stop being everything to everyone. 1, assess your life. Look at what's working for you and what's not. 2, action what changes you can actually do and build in some boundaries, because we always talk about boundaries. And 3, just achieve more peace, achieve more purpose in your days and your life, achieve more time to do things that bring you joy, and achieve more power and more control in your life, to control your purpose and choosing to chuck out what doesn't serve you, that's causing you not to cope. Absolutely. And I think the biggest takeout from chatting with you is that isolation. Don't be isolated. When you're not coping, just share it. Just share with family so that you're not on your own. It's not a solo journey, because that solo journey will spiral down, depression, then anxiety and all the rest. Yeah, don't be so isolated.
And look, I'll put a model up on the blog which talks about, how you move from coping to thriving. But the context of the model was really about an external shock. So you get a shock, something, and you can go off and complain to somebody, somebody ran into the back of my car today or something like that. But when you describe a problem, when you get depressed about it, it's not the issue itself. It's your reaction to it.
It's your perception of it. Absolutely.
And that's where you have a choice about how you're going to respond to what happens to you.
Yep.
And going back to my model, if you can get quiet at the beginning of the day, and then you make a space to rediscover yourself, then that gives you a good framework for them proceeding.
Yep.
To work out what parts in your life serve you and what parts don't. And and do the things that you've suggested. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's a great topic to bring some awareness about, because so many of us just go into autopilot and forget to stop. And as you say, have that pause in the morning and just think, what am I doing today? And do I really need to be doing it? And that's where I said, what's working, what's not working for you? Try and work it out.
And we all get habits. Yeah, we'll all get stuck in our habits.
Absolutely. And once you get that awareness, it's like, okay, that's cool. I just let that shit go. I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah,
And let's go and hang with your mates. I think big takeout is hang with your mates more and share.
Talking about hanging, nice earrings today, Sarah.
A little bit of bling. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why
I'm
not?
admiring them.
Oh, bring it on, Harry. Well, I'm just going to go out for a walk now into the water. So thank you very much for sharing this with me this week.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see you model on your blog. I love your blogs.
Yeah.
Very cool. And
Perfect.
let's build up the awareness and get more and more people not in that state of ready to snap, but ready to like take some better control.
Yeah, perfect. Well, you have a good walk on the beach and
I will.
maybe swim. Yeah.
Okie dokie. See you later.
See you then.
Bye.